Vegas, San Jose, 17-18 on the rotation. Our second game of the doubleheader on Monday night, 10:05 p.m. Eastern, 7:05 p.m. Pacific in the tank, the Shark Tank in San Jose. San Jose minus 130 to minus 135, and even a minus 140 out there at the Greek. So this is one of those you shop around if you like either side. Total 5.5 shaded to the under, minus 130, minus 135. And certainly this is a series that's got that long, competitive, back and forth kind of nature to it. And I think that's the way I'm going to be going here in this game. You're talking about a Vegas team that how many times after a loss, things don't go their way, bad penalties, undisciplined as they were in game two. As much as I have issues with the goaltender interference call, we can't sugarcoat the fact that Vegas took way too many penalties. 7 in that game. That's way too many. Can't do that against San Jose. They got to clean that up. Gerard Gallant says for half of that 50 minutes of that game, we didn't, compete. He brought that line up again, and I remember him bringing that line up again earlier this season. And boy, did that team compete the next game. They sure did. I think Vegas is going to rein it in here tonight. Stay out of the penalty box, which was an issue for them in game number two. Go on the road, and I'm not as leery about this Vegas team on the road. I know early in the season you're going to say, how is this team going to win games? And they were piling up wins at home. Can they do it on the road? Well, they won both road games in the first round against the Los Angeles Kings. Their road record improved as the season went on, so I don't really worry about Vegas not playing as well on the road as they do at home, maybe now compared to early in the season. I think Vegas is fully capable of putting forth a good performance on the road, and that's certainly the direction I'm going to go here. Again, off the loss, we've got Vegas 14-5 when playing on the road, off a loss this season. 14-5 is a pretty good record. That's an extremely good record. In terms of a road game off a defeat, which we've got Vegas in here tonight. We've got Marc-Andre Fleury, who's been just absolutely sensational off a loss himself. I mean, he's 11-2 last 13 starts in between the pipes after a game in which he lost. So that's a really strong recent record for Marc-Andre Fleury and bounce back situation. So you're going to give me plus 115 and even plus 120 now with this Vegas team, who I think is going to have their heads screwed back on, be played more disciplined, because I think 5-on-5, San Jose was a lot better 5-on-5 than they were in game one, but in the broad spectrum of the two games combined, I'd still say Vegas has been the better 5-on-5 team in this series. As long as you stay out of that penalty box tonight, should be able to give your team a decent chance to win if you're the Vegas Golden Knights. And I know Gerard Gallant and his coaching staff is hammering home that point. Now, before we turn it over, I'm going to just quickly say about the goalie interference, because I did promise you a rant about it. I am not so much angry about the call going one way or the other Saturday night. It's the fact that I've got these things cycling in my head that I have seen this season where I am seeing an extremely larger amount of contact and an extremely larger collision with a goalie being called a good goal countless times this season. Whereas Saturday night, I'm seeing just a little bump of the goaltender's stick when Jones is almost completely out of the blue paint, out of his crease, which should be anybody's space, anybody's open ice to take. The forward or the goalie should have free reign in that outside of that blue paint area. You should be allowed credit to try to make some things happen outside the blue paint. Minimal contact, barely a touch in the stick of the goalie, and it's called no goal. When I've seen goalies elbowed, an El Kabong with the elbow right in the side of the head, and I've seen goals called good goals earlier this season in situations like that. There is no consistency right now with this goalie interference rule. It is a big problem. It may very well possibly could have cost Vegas a game the other night, although I still say San Jose was better for extended stretches of that game, probably deserved the victory in the end. But the fact is, Vegas still had a chance to win it, and it was kind of taken away from them. That rule's got to be clarified. It's got to be universal. It's got to be consistent from game to game, from venue to venue, from officiating staff to officiating crew. You've got to have the same universal, clearly defined definition of what and what is not goalie interference on a potential goal. That's all there is to it. It's got to be fixed. It's got to be looked at by the competition committee, and it's got to be agreed upon in the offseason, because right now you've got an NFL catch on your hands right now with the NHL goalie interference rule, because nobody has a clue what's good and what's not good in terms of that rule. So that's got to get fixed as far as I'm concerned in the offseason. Dana Lane, let's get to you with Vegas, San Jose. What do you see here? And obviously give your take on the goalie situation the other night in game two.
Yeah, Ian, I mean, listen, they go back to the studio and act as if this was this was a clear interference call, and that's fine. If you want to go letter of the law, I guess that's fine. But I do know this. I know that Brandon Dillon was riding Marchessault into a stick that was not in the crease. Okay, so you can't put your equip just because you're in the crease doesn't mean you can stick your stick out and you also have control of that parameter wherever your stick can go. And I realize he wasn't sticking a stick out, and people on Twitter are kind enough to send me the rule, and I understand the rule, but I also understand that I've seen James Neal take a shot to Connor Hellebuck this year that was called a good goal, which I mean, regardless of how his stick got there, his stick hit him in the head. We even talked about after the show last time about last year between Edmonton and Anaheim when Ricard Raquel's goal counted. And my God, I mean, there was bodies all over the blue paint. Good goal. Everything's good. I've seen Malcolm Subban this year get called or did not get a goaltender interference when he was clearly bumped a lot worse than what we saw the other day. Now, letter of the law was an interference. I guess. I guess it was. I don't know how far these goaltenders can be out. I don't know how far their equipment, which should be an extension of the goaltender, should be out of the crease. But the fact of the matter was that Marchessault was trying to make a move to the net, and he was getting bumped clearly from behind, not necessarily into, but there was a still shot on YouTube that I hit just at the right time. When Jonathan was past Martin, his body was past him, but you could see from the back camera there was clearly space between Marchessault and Dillon and Jones. Okay, not until the Marchessault get past Jones and hit his stick did that blocker become extended. Okay, so I think there's got to be some sort of a rule that basically says, well, you both really have a right to that space. Just like a defender, a defensive back, and a receiver both have the right to the ball. Okay. It's a no call, it's a goal. But everybody else seems to think that it wasn't. So I guess I'm in the wrong. But that's not how I saw it. So going forward into this game, it's a difficult situation for me because that I've gone on record here and I've gone on record in our local paper here by saying I think the San Jose Sharks are going to win this game. And I kind of wake up every day after watching the first game for sure, and after watching the second game thinking, yeah, I think maybe the Knights tonight. I think the Knights tonight, especially getting a plus price, and I can't really do that. Obviously, you can understand my dilemma, so you can't really do that. So I think my play here um, is to stay away. If I did not lay or did not have an opinion on the series, I would go Vegas tonight for sure, especially with the plus money. But what we talked about happening in this series is starting to happen. You see that Sharks fourth line becoming more of a force, whereas Vegas once again on the offensive end just is not. They're not contributing, and Sorensen has 4 points in his last 5 games, so he's the source or the power source that he's been just about all season for the Sharks, and Melker Carlson has 3 assists, so they are getting production from that fourth line. Where I just don't think Vegas is going to get that production, and I think ultimately that's going to be the difference in this series. But it's a pass for me tonight because there's just too many angles that rub people wrong if I make a selection.
I know, yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're saying you turn your back on the Golden Knights if you take San Jose. You're a
Yeah,
homer if you
right.
take Vegas. You can't win, Danny.
Yeah,
You can't. Yeah.
that's exactly right. But this isn't about what's in my heart. This is about doing
Yep.
what's best for customers and clients. And so what's best is the kind of layoff.
All right, very good. Nothing wrong with that. You don't bet every game in the Stanley Cup playoffs. You bet what's there, what's an opportunity, what's an edge. As our late friend Dave Malinsky said, always bet when you've got an edge. That's what you do. Alex B, and that is by the way, my edge I think here is Vegas off a loss. They've been great, 14-5, as I said on the road. That's what I think my edge is here, and a wake up call from the coach saying stay out of the damn penalty box because that's what got you in trouble the other night. And I think the Vegas Golden Knights will heed those words. And like I say, if this is a 5-on-5, predominantly a 5-on-5 hockey game tonight, I think I like Vegas's chances, to be honest with you. They played very good 5-on-5 so far in this series. Let's get to Alex with Vegas and San Jose. Game 3 in the Shark Tank, 1-1 series. What do you like happening here tonight, Alex?
Yeah, Dana, I feel for you with that whole the back and forth of with your series and with your local team. I had to deal with it for 9 years straight with the Hawks, and every time I'd go against them, then I'd have local fans, breathing down my neck all over Twitter and Facebook. So, yeah, that's always a rough thing when it goes this time of year. But I like Vegas here, like you said, Ian, with coming off of a loss. This team's been absolutely sensational. And the fact that any team that feels that they got screwed or slighted in a game before, and then on top of the fact that they didn't play well, they, let San Jose draw them into a physical penalty fest game. And it's interesting for as fast as Vegas was, and they made a comment about this. I think Eddie Olczyk made a comment about this during the game that all the times that they had 4-on-4, it was San Jose who dominated the ice and dominated the
Yeah.
flow and was able to outskate, Vegas with the extra space. So I found that to be interesting, but that exactly how that went. So they got to stay out of the penalty box, number one. Defensively, I think they did fine. Fleury's not going to be he's not going to be a brick wall every single night. You can't blame him for the goals that were allowed. They were good goals, and I do think we see some more scoring here, especially with Evander Kane returning too. I'm sure he's going to have a chip on his shoulder, missing after that ugly hit on game one, and he's been the guy who's been the go-to guy for San Jose. So I like the over, but I'm on San Jose or on Las Vegas here. Plus $1.15. I thought I was going to see money go back the other way. Now we're seeing you at plus 20 in some shops. So I think the Golden Knights do come back here and get the 2-1 lead heading into game four.
Yeah, I mean, I think with all these series, if you're one of those zigzag theory people, you're gonna like this second round. I think you're gonna see a lot of that back and forth. Team wins one, loses one, wins one, loses one. We're seeing those patterns already start to go in a lot of these series here in the second round. I think that's got a chance to continue tonight. By the way, if you're into, there's a couple books that have these goal scorers props. First goal scorer of the game, last goal scorer of the game, anytime goal scorer of the game, and I can get at anytime goal scorer. This is going into the bargain bin, and I've already bet it myself. James Neal, anytime goal scorer tonight, plus 320. I think he scores. Scored in LA in game 3 in the first round. I think he's actually done more damage, to be honest with you, and has been more of a presence and impact on the road, believe it or not, than he has been at T-Mobile Arena so far in these playoffs. It's been odd to see, but I think Neal's been more noticeable on the road for some reason. It's been strange to see. So I think and he had a bunch of chances in game 2 as well. James Neal just couldn't find that finishing touch in a lot of them. You can get plus 320 James Neal anytime goal scorer tonight in game number 3. I think that's the one that stands out from a value standpoint. Really good. You're not getting value on Carlson, for Vegas. He's plus 125. That's obviously everybody knows how much of a lethal offensive weapon he's been. Marchessault is plus 190 for Vegas. Then you go all the way down to James Neal, who we know is still a very capable goal scorer at plus 320 when he's already shown you can score on the road in the postseason. I like that from a value standpoint tonight. Neal to score a goal in this game for the Vegas Golden Knights. All right, let's go on to
what's Cody Eakin.
Cody Eakin. Let me check for you here. Plus 700 anytime goal scorer. Wow.
Hey, listen. This guy has certainly elevated his game in the postseason. I mean, this is a guy that's chipped in 3 goals over his last 10 games. Plus 700. That's he's the offensive force on that third line for sure. Because you're not getting anything from Perron because he's too worried about Dylan, and you're not getting anything for Ryan Carpenter right now. But I'd take a shot with Cody Eakin plus 700.
How the hell are Ryan Carpenter and Cody Eakin both plus 700? That one I don't understand. Carpenter should be way below that. Even Tuck at plus 450 is not bad. Tuck scored in game 1. Beautiful goal for him in game 1 of that series. So there's a couple. Like Vegas players that are pretty decent value in terms of scoring a goal tonight. Most of the big players for San Jose, actually Burns being at plus 400 is not bad if you're into a San Jose goal scorer in this game tonight. I mean, he's capable, but all the big forwards, Couture, Hurdle, Pavelski, and Kane, they're all plus 170 or less to score a goal tonight. So you're not getting great value with any of those guys. But yeah, Neal's the one that stood out to me. And Dana mentioned it with Eakin. Eakin's one of those guys that he goes to the areas of the ice where you score goals in the playoffs, right in front of the net, 2 feet from the goaltender. That's where you can do some damage in the spring. And yeah, that's a great price. Eakin plus 700, no question. If you really want to go bargain hunting, that might be one for you as well.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.